Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. And this is different from what a normal Overgrowth episode would be. As you can obviously tell, I do not have the game open right now. And that is because when I tried to boot it up and play, it kept giving me an error and it would not let me boot up the game. And it was giving me an error before when I was booting up the game, but it would still boot up the game. This time around, though, it's just not booting up the game. I went through the Steam forums and I could not find anything on how to fix it. I understand that this game is in beta, though, so I'm not going to, like, tear into the game for that. Be like, you know, what the hell is this? Why isn't my game booting up? You know, it's understandable. You know, it's in early access. It's not something that's necessarily ready for the I guess the quote-unquote general public, if that's how you want to look at it. But I'm just, in this video, really, I'm just going to offer my thoughts on the game, because that's what I typically do in the finale of any series, is that I just offer my thoughts on the game I played. Even if I did a review video to start off the series, which I did in this case, but it's just to kind of give my thoughts on playing after I've played a little bit of the game. And truth be told, I really didn't enjoy playing the game, not necessarily because it's a bad game, but there are a couple different factors going into it. One, it's just not my type of game. Like, it really isn't. Like, just not necessarily fighting games that aren't my type of game, but there was something about this particular game that was not as fun or as intriguing to me as other fighting games have been in the past. So that played a little part into it. I could really not get a grip on the fighting aspect, like the actual combat. I could not get a grip on that for some reason. It's probably just me, but that was something I struggled with too. The controls seemed a little hard to understand for me, and I just could not get a grasp on how to really fight in the game. Which, you know, it's either a case of, you know, just me not having enough experience in the game, or just me being, you know, an idiot, or a combination of both. You know, that's really what it is. It's not necessarily a fault with the game, just something I found to be difficult, while other people have not found it difficult at all. So, I guess the storyline and the way that I'm trying to describe this in the best way I can. The storyline and the dialogue and just the entire feel felt very corny. And I know that's weird to say, and I'm not even sure if this game was meant to be like a parody of other fighting games or not meant to be taken seriously, but there was just something about, I don't even know, just something about the game and the dialogue and everything that was going on that made it feel very corny and very, just made it very difficult for me to even try and take it seriously, you know. You know, that could be a case of the writing. It could be a case of just how the game looks. I don't really know what makes me feel that way, but I just get that impression that it just feels extremely corny to me. You know, I understand though that it's in early access, you know, as I mentioned earlier, so that could be something that gets resolved in the future, and it's just kind of there right now. So I'm not gonna get upset about that, really, because it's not something to get really upset over, you know. It's just the storyline felt corny, you know, and I really don't think that's a strong suit for this game. The story itself is not a strong suit for the game. I think the game relies more on its combat, which again, you know, I found difficult to get into. So, you know, I like it just this was going to be the final episode of the series, regardless of whether or not I was actually going to be able to boot up the game. Because while I understand that there are plenty of mods for this game, and it has a pretty decently sized community for something that's in early access, for something that's in its beta state. Well, I understand that it's like, I don't enjoy playing the game at all, you know, and that's probably the main reason why I end any series on any game ever, is because I stop enjoying the game. Now, with this case, or in this case, rather, I can't necessarily say that I ever enjoyed playing the game in the first place. That first episode, that Let's Take a Look At video where I was just dicking around in the tutorial, that was kind of fun. But other than that, excuse me, gotta not slur my words. Other than that, you know, I didn't find anything really enjoyable about playing the game. And again, like that, I keep saying this, but I just want to make it clear that, you know, my opinion on this game is not the standard for what the game actually is. This game has mostly positive reviews on Steam, so I am in the minority here on my thoughts for this game. You know, this just isn't a game that I can enjoy. So take my words with a grain of salt. Not a grain of salt, a grain of sand. Guess it really doesn't matter, though, because it's still a grain of salt regardless. But anyway, just do not take my words as the standard for what this game is. I recommend playing it for yourself and, you know, seeing whether or not you would like it. You know, I believe it's like, what, $10 on Steam or something? I think, maybe. I don't know. The link is down in the description box, is down below, so you can check that out for yourself. It's not too expensive, so I definitely recommend just looking at it for yourself and developing an opinion on your own, rather than taking mine as the standard and thus not playing the game because of what I said. Now, I really don't think that anyone watching this video would do that, would take my word as like the truth, as 100% as a 100% accurate representation of what this game is. I really don't think anyone would do that. One, because I'm not a big channel at all. Two, because I've looked at the analytics for that first video, that first Overgrowth video, and while it got somewhere around like 30 views, that's high for me for an average video. And I was curious where all these, you know, views were coming from, and you know, they were coming from, you know, YouTube searches. Like, people were looking up the game and they were running and coming across that video, which is, you know, good for me. Good job on my end, I guess, for the SEO. But, you know, these people are new to the channel and new to me. So more likely than not, they would not, you know, take my opinions and make them their own. You know, that's just a psychological thing, you know. The more attached you are to a YouTuber, I think, the more likely you are to take their opinions and make them your own. Which is not really to say that people don't, or people can't think for themselves, but it's to say that, like, you know, it happens with me. You know, I watch certain YouTubers and they have an opinion on something that maybe I don't have as much of an understanding about, or maybe they have an opinion, and they make a really good case for their opinion, and I'm like, okay, you know, I take that side. You know, that happens with me. It's I don't want to describe it as like a herd mentality or like sheep and a shepherd kind of thing, but it's like, you know, like that's just how it is with YouTubers and celebrities in general, is that when people look at these celebrities and these YouTubers and whatever and think of them so highly, you know, more likely than not, they're going to take on their opinions on things because they think so highly of them. You know, that's just how it is. And I really don't think anyone thinks that highly of me. And that isn't like self-deprecation. That's just how it is. You know, my channel is not big by any means. So it would be perfectly, reasonable to think that no one would think that highly of me. If that makes any sense whatsoever. I was just babbling there for the past 2 minutes about this. I know I'm not great at enunciating and really trying to make my points or whatever, but regardless, this game is more likely than not, if you play it, you'll enjoy it. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here. So I recommend just using the link down in the description box, going to the Steam page, buying it, playing it, seeing if you like it. You know, it's my recommendation for it. Even though I didn't enjoy the game, I'm still going to recommend it because I recognize that, you know, plenty of other people like the game. So my opinion's in the minority. And I don't want to, like, if it were to occur, I don't want my opinion to be the standard for what this game is. Or for how this game is viewed. So that's it. That's all I have to say for this final episode of Overgrowth. Again, I apologize that I could not boot up the game and play a little more for the final episode, but I was receiving an error booting it up, so there's nothing I can really do about it. I wasn't going to test out any of the mods, I don't think, in this episode anyway. I know I got a comment, I think, on the last video asking me to check out the mods and see what was going on there. And I thought about it, and I was like, I don't enjoy this game enough to look into that, which is kind of a dick thing to say if I think about it, but I mean, that's just the truth, you know. I don't enjoy the game enough to really care about what the modding community is doing for the game. So I apologize for that. But with everything said, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comment section below. Like it, share it with your friends. That lets me know you want to see more of any game series I do here on the channel. The link down to the game is in the description box down below, as I mentioned a couple times earlier. Subscribe to my channel for more gaming content. I play all sorts of games on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you very much, and I'll talk to you later.